Hey guys, welcome to my review. This is the Mi3 from the Chinese manufacturer Xiaomi. To be more specific, this is the Snapdragon 800 version, or in other words, the W-CDMA version of the phone. Not to be confused with the CDMA version, which has been released in October 2013. The CDMA version runs the Tegra 4 SoC and was only made for the Chinese. So if you want to use this phone anywhere else, the Snapdragon 800 version is the one you want to go for. The Xiaomi Mi3 comes with a 5-inch Full HD IPS screen, which is extremely crisp with its 441 dpi. It comes with 2 GB of RAM and you can choose between 16 or 64 GB of internal storage. The battery is with 3050 mAh quite impressive. There is a 2 megapixel camera on the front and a solid 13 megapixel camera on the back side of the phone. The Xiaomi Mi3 is one of the first phones which gets a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800AB. To be more specific, it's the M8974AB version, and it's special because besides a normal clocked quad-core CPU, which runs with 2.3 GHz, the Adreno 330, the GPU of the SoC is clocked with 550 instead of 450 MHz. Of course, this has a huge effect on benchmarks, but we'll get to that later. As you can see, spec-wise, the Xiaomi Mi3 is very impressive, and it screams high-end. And by the way, have I told you, this thing is sold for only $330, at least in China. So, let's check the build quality. Is it any good? Yes, it actually is. It's 154 grams light, but still solid as a rock and only 8 mm thick. So let's get to the design. The design of the phone is of course very hard to rate objectively. Personally, I love the simple and clear lines of the phone very much. But of course you have to judge for yourself if you like it or not. The Mi3 is quite edgy. While the left and the right outlines of the phone are nicely rounded, the edges on the top and the bottom are not beveled at all. This made the phone quite uncomfortable to hold at first. But now, after 1 week of use, I've got very much used to it, and must say, it isn't so terrible at all as I imagined at first. The back of the phone, which looks like metal, is actually made from plastic, but the inner case of the phone is made of aluminium, and so the whole phone feels very stiff and solid. The one-piece glass front reinforces this too, of course. This leads to the feeling that the back is actually made of aluminium, but I really don't like the feeling of the backside. It's just too slick, too smooth, not much grip there. But maybe that's just me, because I'm spoiled by the soft touch finish of the Nexus devices. Another point is the length of the device. This is for one thing because of the soft keys under the display. But for most part I think it's to fit the huge battery in the phone while keeping it as thin as possible. But still, other phones manage to get the size much smaller. But what other phones can't achieve at the moment are the benchmark results of the Mi3. While benchmarks like Ninamark only will make the phone get bored to death because it's running in the 60 FPS frame limit all the time, other old benchmarks like Quadrant are not very challenging either. But it's still nice to see how much faster the Mi3 is. But now let's get to more serious stuff, like the GFX bench. The T-Rex benchmark in the 1080p on-screen version. Just for comparison, a Samsung S4 gets something around 60 FPS there, Nvidia's Shield gets 25 frames per second, and the Note 3 gets 27 frames per second tops. The Xiaomi Mi 3 beat that on the first try with 28 frames per second. Another great benchmark is Epic Citadel. It's based on the Unreal Engine, and even if it's already a little bit old, it's still very impressive to watch and challenging to render in ultra settings at Full HD. The Note 3 and the Nexus 5 are getting results between 51 and 53 frames. The Mi 3 gets over 56 frames and runs in the 60 frames frame limiter quite a lot again. Even in CPU-intensive benchmarks like Geekbench 3, it seems to be faster than its biggest rival, the Note 3. And of course, the most of you will be very eager to see the Antutu results. This isn't even the highest score I've got, once I broke the 37,000 mark. But before everyone gets benchmark crazed now, please keep in mind that benchmarks results can vary a lot from run to run, so they don't give a 100% reliable measurement for the actual performance of the device. So, all you can say is that the Xiaomi Mi 3 is most certainly one of the fastest devices right now, if not the fastest. And it's very unlikely that you find an app or a game which runs faster on another device than the Xiaomi Mi 3. But this is for right now, and you can be sure that a faster device will come out very, very soon. In the next part of the review, I will show you the MIUI, the modified Android version from Xiaomi. Also, we'll have a closer look to the camera, the screen, the audio quality and much more. So, there's a lot more to come.